So they're going to curse things that are even peripheral to you, not only you, but things that are peripheral to you are going to be something that works against what they want to do. So
where do you see the whole idea peripheral?
Mivarachecha, it's not you. It's just those va'avarcha mivarachecha. It's not you who he's going to bless. He's going to bless somebody who says yes. You should be more. You should what you're doing is good. Anybody who supports your position, not even if they're one of you.
And is it even more than that? That if you that you're actually causing yourself to go backwards by cursing? Is that
Means those who curse.
No. So he's asking the tipcha, which is a backwards-looking note. Is that going to be? Is that implied that because it's a backwards-looking note, those who curse you are going to go backwards? So we have ascribed directional significance in terms of compass directions or directions in time to notes before. But usually that is when we're talking about geographical phrases. These people lived here and these people lived there and so on. Sorry?
Or events?
Events?
Events. Yeah, so we're looking backwards in time.
No.
We've never used the tipcha to look backwards in time.
I'm not saying looking back in time. Like you're saying that you just said he gives direction. In Varechecha we said we're giving direction moving forward. Or if there's a separation moving forward, like the bracha moving forward, it's separated from before.
And again, that's part of what we see in a munach, in that it separates you out from what's come from before and moves you forward into your new reality, which is different from what was before. But we don't. We might see a little bit of that with Mapach Pashta. But other than that, we don't really see that concept expressed frequently in the parish.
Okay.
But it's a good question. Or I will curse with the stabilizing at nachta. So we are number 4.
Aurora.
He shall not escape punishment. I will curse individually each one of your enemies and render them harmless, as stressed by the stabilizing shape of the reading mark. So not only is God standing up to defend even those who peripherally try to attack concepts that Abraham is going to put into the world. So that is one level of stability. It is separated out from umikalelcha, that God will have nothing to do with those who would curse you. And again, that's inherent in the pause that comes after a tipcha. So again, we do drush very frequently on the concept of the pauses that the notes imply. So a tipcha has a minor pause afterwards. So that is separating out Mikalelcha from what God is going to do. The people who detract from you are going to be separated from Hashem. Hashem is going to separate himself from them. V'nivrechu, number 5, and they shall be blessed. And again, this is a munach, so it is going to be separate from what's come from before and moving forward into what's going to go afterwards. So you got where we are on the page. People and nations were created by God, and they will be blessed. You just change shall to will, if that's okay. And they shall be blessed, as denoted by the directional shape of the reading mark. So again, the way that they were before is going to be different from the way that they're going to be afterwards. which is a concept that is very neatly described by the Menach. V'cha, with a katon, so this has a two-part element to the way that we're going to define the word. Due to your presence among them, they shall receive their respective blessings by you, and you shall stimulate them to reach higher levels of achievement, as pointed out by the bipartite shape of the related reading mark. So, with Abraham's influence, they're going to reach different and higher levels. And again, the idea of katon, of two dots, one above the other, is not only is there going to be more than one thing that's going to happen to them, but perhaps something elevated above the level of something else.
What's the significance of the reading mark when you v'chu under the chaf, as opposed to before where we saw it where it's under the... Before it's under like the gimel, or it's under the bet.
There are certain, as I said, there are certain reading marks that have a fixed position on the word, and those ones that do not have a fixed position go under the accented syllable.
Okay.
So it's not v'nivrechu, it's v'nivrechu. So
the emphasis on the
with a chu. So that's the syllable that takes the accent.
And therefore, what's like the that comes with putting the emphasis on the clue?
There are two common ways that Hebrew words get their accent, their syllables accented. There's something called milra, which is accent on the last syllable, closest to the ground. Mem lamed resh ayin is the technical term. So milra is a word that has the last syllable accented, and there's mil'el, which is the second last syllable accented. Mivarchecha, the second last syllable, the che is accented, so that's a mil'el word, and v'nivrechu is a milra word. We haven't really gone into taking that as part of our interpretation usually, other than to point out when it is exceptionally moved, and the notes influence each other, so that when you have a very short word, it might push the note from the word before backwards to another syllable. So it's not v'haya sham, because poetically, when you're singing them, you can't have two accented syllables sitting next to each other. It's a little hard to do. So v'haya sham, or v'hayalo would turn into v'hayalo. So so the hey is going to get the accent, not the yud in the word v'haya, and that's the concept of nasogachor. The note is pushed backwards. The second thing that you're going to notice with positioning of the notes is the concept of vav hayipuch. When you have a verb that starts with a vav at the beginning with a patach under it, if it has the ability to turn a verb that is past tense into future tense, or a verb that is future tense into past tense. So, vin natan Hashem lecha, God is going to give to you, is future tense. God's going to give it to you. But natan is past tense. So that vav turns the word from a past verb to a future verb, or the future tense of a verb to a past tense of a verb. But there's a rule that goes with the vav hayipuch. And the rule that goes with vav hayipuch is that the accented syllable, if it's a milel, if it's the second last syllable normally, gets pushed to the end, gets pushed to milra. So, sorry, example is escaping me, but
Vayakel.
So vayakel will be vayakel. So it doesn't go on the kuf. Vayakel, it's vayakel, because the vav hayipuch pushes
And changes from past
the
tense
accent.
to future tense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so so again, we were talking about positioning of the notes, and again, there are some rules that are defined and there are also some words that should have the accent on a certain syllable and have it on another syllable that doesn't follow one of these rules, and when that happens, we do comment on it. Kol, most, with the tipra, so this is going to push us backwards to what's happened before and relate to that, and it's going to have a slight pause afterwards. Number 7, most of the countries that will have you in their midst shall experience the most significant progress, as suggested by the reverse direction of the reading mark. Again, the typing from A to S is a typo. That seems to be the way we were typing this day. So we're looking back at all of those people who get blessing from you, and they are going to get part of kol. They're going to get that concept applied to them as well. So they are going to.
What's the difference between kol? When grammatically, when would you say all versus most?
So
what Hebrew word is all?
He has defined kol as most throughout the text here, and I don't know anybody else who really would define kol as most, and I'm wondering if this is related to a Kabbalistic concept that I have not yet learned, but that'd be my thought, is that he's trying to express that there is a limit to what man can get, so you can't say all. I think it's just one of those things. I remember we had a teacher who would only give you 99% on an assignment because only God gets 100. But I think that's what he's trying to express here. And he always defines the word kol as most. So that's
always, not most.
He mostly defines most as most. Mishpachot, families of, with a mercha, so this is lightly connected to what's come from before, but mostly pushing us forward into what's going to go afterwards. The fact shall not be a sporadic phenomenon related to a specific location or time, but it shall be a lasting rule for all families of nations, as expressed by the directional shape of the reading mark.
And this is going into the future tense?
Well, it's a noun, so the tense is not particularly relevant, but the idea is a mercha is mostly going to look forward into what's going to go afterwards, but it is lightly connected to what's come from before as well. So it both has that connection, but the main exposition is what's going to go forward afterwards.
Okay.
Well, just look at the shape of the note.
Yeah, look at the shape of the note. It's a curve. It's a curve moving forward.
He said it's also looking back.
So it is lightly.
It's not
It's not separated out from what's come from before.
I gotcha.
So
Because
I
the
would,
munaf
but I,
is a straight line going like this, so
So
it's
it's like a
separate.
brick wall.
a rather sharp
And this is-
sharp separation, and this is
Bringing with
still a
it.
light connection.
All right, I'm
So we're going to look at that again for a second, because kol with the tipcha has an implied pause afterwards. So when we take the word kol, we're going to say there's a separation, and then when we take the word mishpachot, we're going to say there's a connection. So you have to realize that when you take the word kol and you define it, you define that word phrase to say that's a separation from what's going to go afterwards. But then when we take the word mishpachot and define its phrase, it's connected to kol.
Because that's
So
the
you
way-
understand? Because each word stands for a paragraph in and of itself. You can have both a separation and a connection between two words, and that's not a stira, that's not a contradiction. Because in the context of the word kol, there's a separation. In the context of the word mishpachot, there's a connection. Even if
Because,
it's a light
because of the
connection.
nature of the reading mark that
Because
it's
of the
light,
nat-
it's not
exactly.
sharp. But if it was sharp, it would be.
If it was sharp, if it was a menach, then there would be a
It would
separation.
be a separation.
But
Okay.
this is what we were saying before, the shape of the reading mark tells you the nature of the question to ask, or the type of approach to use when you're saying, here's how to unearth the story that's hidden inside.
Right.
So in the case of kol, you say this has got it's going to look back. In the case of mishpachot, there's a little piece of what came before, but really shovels itself forward. Right? And so that's how you should approach the interpretation of the word to help understand what it's trying to tell you.
Yeah, I got that. Very good.
Ha'adama, 9, the ground, which is stabilizing sof pasuk. This fact shall not be a sporadic phenomenon related to a specific location or time, but it shall be a lasting rule for all families. I'm reading the wrong one.
Right.
Yeah.
It shall be a universal principle which shall be applied to all places and the ground throughout the globe.
So what is this remark mean? This is the line.
Under
There's
the
a couple
map.
in there.
Vavar we have actually. Vavarechecha.
So,
Vavarecha,
makaf, that,
Vavarecha.
when you look at the word ha'adama, the last word that we
I think you're
interpreted,
in the wrong place.
Yeah. Okay. No.
Okay.
No, I got that. Yeah. But
so when you look at that
similar-
word, both under under the hay and under the mem, there's a downwards straight line.
Yeah.
So this is something that's called a makaf, and what it tells us is syllables that get an accent or a share of the accent. So you can't just normally this would be normally you can't just put the accent on the last syllable with a word with so many syllables. So you can't say hadama. You can't say it. You just lose part of the word. So the accent is shared between the two syllables.
So it'd be
Ha'adama.
Okay. And what's the significance of that?
We have not been, so a makaf is an instruction to pronunciation, and we have not been giving it the significance of another note. It's not really read as another note anywhere. In fact, the one that's under the hay, that one, is actually I'm trying to think which one is the sof pasuk. So the sof pasuk, those two, that thing that looks like a colon at the end, is a construct that was put in later. It's not, in fact, the reading for sof pasuk. The reading mark for sof pasuk is that makaf, is that first one that's under the hay, and the second one is just to tell you that syllable is going to get accent as well.
That was changed later on.
That was changed later on for clarity. The psukim and the numbering of parshiot and psukim are not even a Jewish concept. They were added by somebody who wanted to publish a Bible, but it was recognized that it was so useful that we kept it.
Caught on.
But you'll notice, we have aliyahs that end at the end of pasuk aleph or the end of pasuk beit, and we have
So the numbering of
so the numbering of
psukim.
parshiot and psukim, those numbers, Genesis 12:3, those aren't ours.
So the actual so what would be like a
So the psukim, the fact that this sentence begins here and ends here, is defined by the notes, and that's ours.
and we have that.
But
we kept
and,
that.
and we have that, and we kept that, and we have ptuchot and stumot. When you look in it in a Sefer Torah, you'll notice that there are parts where you'll have three letter space in between one sentence and the next sentence, and that's something that's called a patuach. So that's an open spacing in between. So that's sort of the paragraph structure that we have. And similarly, there are ones that are defined as satum, are defined as closed, where we know there's a space in between the two, but there's no physical space
So
in
the two
between
dots
the
are
two. So the most famous of that is Parshat Vayechi, when Yaakov is going to tell what's going to happen in the future, and yet there's no space there because it's hidden. So we end the parsha and begin the next parsha, and there's no space in between the last parsha and Parshat Vayechi. It just runs right into it with no letter space in between. So again, because that's something that's satum, something that's hidden. But all of the other numbering that's given, Breshit, Perek Gimel, Pasuk Daled, that's not ours. But again, it's such a useful concept
But they didn't
that we
change
retained it.
But they didn't change the size of the psukim. That's still.
They didn't change the size of the psukim, so we had defined the psukim already.
Right.
That wasn't
That never
changed anywhere
Okay,
else.
fine. They just added numbers.
Mhm. And we have a further note. The Zohar says, when a tzaddik emerges, blessing arises for the whole world. In his surroundings, such blessings are absent when the seed of Abraham is missing. It would be desirable for Jews to benefit somewhat from their own tzaddikim, not only umot ha'olam. So this is an anguished cry.
Mm-hmm. Good way to phrase it.
What's our time now?
It is 9:27.
So I think we're going to go on.
Okay, do you want to read the pasuk?
We're going to read the pasuk, and as we read through the sentence,
What's NB stand for?
sorry,
Note to
no,
them,
yeah,
note,
it's
take note.
Latin for this is something important, something we should take note of. So we're going to notice that mivarchecha is going to have a pause after it, and it's going to be separated out from mikalelcha, and then what God is going to do is going to be again separated out from that when we overemphasize the pauses, and kol, the blessing that's going to happen to I'm going to say all of those who are influenced by you is going to be separated out from mishpachot adama, the other nations throughout the world, who are going to benefit from their influence, but not directly be attaching themselves to it.
I can find out what kol means.
You can find out.
Like in Otavla.
Okay, the point is,
It's okay.
in the context of the parish, this is what's being defined as. Whatever else.
I can find out.
Yeah. Va'avarecha mivarachecha umekalelcha or v'nivrechu v'cha kol mishpachot hadama. And we're going to continue on the next page. Vayelech with a menach, and he went. So this is going to be separated out from what's come from before and lead us forward into the new reality afterwards. Without delay, Avram decided, and he went according to the received order from God, as indicated by the shape of the reading mark. So Avram is commanded Lech Lecha, and this is what's going to happen if Lech Lecha, and right away Vayelech. When the command and the conditions are given, Avram immediately acts, and it separates out his previous course of action from what's going to happen to it afterwards.
Why does he skip the? Doesn't speak about the God's name before Vayelech at all.
Where?
So yeah,
Oh,
so the
wow,
pasuk is that's okay. Yeah, no, it's a little hard to get used to, but once you get it, it does start to make sense.
Like I said, English page and English paragraph.
Yeah. And we have a couple of notes about Vayelech.
Okay.
The Zohar noticed that, and he went is expressed Vayelech instead of by Vayetze, as in the case of Terach. So Terach, Yetze or Kastim, Terach goes out from where he was. Avram Vayelech goes. In my opinion, the difference is due to the fact that Terach went out to a known destination, while Abraham was going into the unknown. blindly following an order from heaven. So the concept of vayetze, going out of something, versus vayelech, going without defining yourself by your previous circumstance. So Avram is going into a circumstance that he does not know, whereas Terach is going out of one thing because he knows what the next thing is. So vayetze means you're going out of something, so you must know what you're going into. Vayelech just means that you went. And we have an alternate definition of what this might be. Yetze implies a one-time leaving, while halach refers to prolonged or repeated walking, like vayelech lemasav, and he went for his journeys. When Noach was told, "Say min hateva," again with the yetze, with the go out, the response was vayetze Noach. When Abraham was told lech, the reaction was vayelech.
Wait, one more time?
So number one, yetze. So the concept of what that's trying to say is going out just once, whereas yelech or halach is defining going and going and going and
So
going
why is
and
it
going.
vayetze means
So,
Rama?
Why
is it vayetze means Rama? Like when they went out from Egypt, when it shouldn't be vayelech?
because
They went out
once.
But
They
if it
didn't-
was prolonged going
They didn't.
out.
And they went
but it
out
was,
and they went to a destination, a known destination. So they went on their one journey, left a known
Mhm.
destination, and entered another destination.
As opposed to prolonged.
Whereas
which would
Avram is told, go to this land, and then he's told, go from here to there, go from here to there, go to that place, go to that place, go to that place. So he's not necessarily going to be at a destination. He's going to be at all of the influences that are in the different places. So the journey is more important than the single destinations that he's going to go to along the way.
How's that different than
People
vayelech?
died and asked for direction.
How's that different from vayelech?
That's vayelech. That's what vayelech means.
That is vayelech.
Vayetze is you go out of Egypt and you're never going to look back, and you're never going to have the influence of Egypt on you again.
So, sir, Moses.
And you know where you're going.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going to Har Sinai.
I'm not seeing the difference. You're saying you. I'm not even
So
following.
you can Vayetze can be a very long journey.
Okay.
You can go very far with Vayetze, but you know that you're not
going back.
You're not going back. You're going for a different circumstance, and you know why you're going.
Okay.
Vayelech means that you're going to Vayelech l'masav. You're going to go for all of the things along the way, not necessarily.
Escaping something. It's more just going on a journey.
Right. So the journey of it in and of itself is more important than the destination. Vayetze is going out of place A because place B is different. Vayelech is you're going because you're going to get something at each place along the way, and it's more important that you journey than that you reach any particular destination.
How about like Pokemon Go?
Yeah, I think about Vayetze could be Vayelech Havana. Right, so Vayetze Vayelech in the sense because he had to get out of Beersheba, right, to save his life. Right? Vayelech Havana, so he's just going out, whatever the journey takes him.
Right, in Vayelech Harana, he goes to Shem and Aver first for 14 years, and he goes to Har Moriah, and he ends up there. All of the places have a significance to him. He's got to see the angels, and he's got to learn at Shem and Aver, and he's got to get there. But the influence of the places is much more important than where he actually ends up. And again, he doesn't want to stay with Lavan. He wants to keep on going afterwards.
Okay.
He wants to be influenced by the place and pass through. Maybe that's more a better definition. Vayelech is you're going to go somewhere where you're going to pass through.
Pass through with significance.
And we will continue. Avram with the Revi'i. Avram demonstrated that he depended on God alone, and he obeyed the orders accurately, as pointed out by the broad meaning of the reading mark. So with the Revi'i, that single dot that's over the resh, we're gonna notice that, number one, it's a word that you pause on. It's a word that gives you importance to that word. Not only that, it has breadth to it. It spreads out. So you're going, Avram is going to.
That's really a diamond. You just
Yeah.
can't see
So
it.
it's so yeah. It's,
No, I got that, but
Yeah.
is that going on the next word? Is it going on the previous word? Is it just everything? Like,
Stands all
So
by
that
itself.
word is going to stand by itself. Avram is going to obey in all the depth of that it is possible. He's going to follow the order for all that it can